Is it true that 1 MB can mean either 1 million bytes, 10240000 bytes, or 104856 bytes? Possible duplicate. What is the difference between a kilobyte, a kilobit, and a kilobyte? If 1 KB, the kilobyte, can mean either 1000 bytes or 1024 bytes. And 1 MB, the megabyte, can mean either 1000 KB or 1024 KB. Doesn't that mean that 1 MB can either mean any of the one of the four below?
As you can see here, every binary symbol is capitalized and in lowercase I is added before the B symbol to indicate that we are talking about kilobytes instead of kilobytes, megabytes instead of megabytes, etc. However, binary prefixes are not widely used. Windows doesn't use them at all. What happens here is that Windows tells us that the hard disk drive has a capacity of 300,066,795,520 bytes, which, according to Windows, equals 279 GB. However, we know that if 1 billion bytes equals 1 GB, 300,066,795,520 bytes equals 300 GB equals 279.5 GB. Therefore, if you see 1 KB, which is wrong, remember, or 1 MB, assume we are talking respectively of 1 kilobyte and 1 megabyte. KB, KB, GB, GB, etc. are also frequent, even though they represent bits. 8 bits equals 1 byte. And fine, in no case can 1 KB or 1 MB have multiple values, even though the bad usage seems to tell the contrary.
The kilobyte is a base 10 measurement, so 1 kilobyte equals 10 to the power of 3 is equal to 1000 bytes. Although this is not quite accurate to exactly measure physical data, as they are stored in binary, which is measured in base 2, and thus the kilobyte was established in 1999 to replace kilobyte when used in computer science context to mean 1024 bytes. Kilobyte is a base 2 measurement, so 1 kilobyte equals 2 to the power of 10 is equal to 1024 bytes. The same applies to megabyte. 1 megabyte equals 10 to the power of 6 is equal to 1 million bytes, which the base 2 measurement is megabyte. 1 megabyte equals 2 to the power of 20 equals 104.8576 bytes. 1 applies to megabyte. 2 and 3 is not accepted. 4 applies to megabyte.
Currently the use of KB, MB, etc. to mean anything other than 1000 bytes, 1000 by 1000 bytes, etc. is deprecated. And contrary to most official standards. The new way of expressing 1024 bytes, 1024 by 1024 bytes, etc. is kilobyte. MB, megabyte, etc. is a mess, and context is essential to understand what is meant. See this URL for a discussion of these issues.
Probably not, because it would be inconsistent use of the prefixes within a single number. While the SI prefix K stands for 1000, but it is often used to mean 1024, with some advocating binary prefixes, it makes no sense to alternative between these meanings in the same number.
You are correct in your question. 1 and 4 are correct, 2 and 3 are not. Basically, you define the 1000, which is either 1000 or 1024, and use that for the multiplications. They don't get swapped around. In base 2, binary, the closest you can get to 1000 cleanly is 1024, 2 to the power of 10. This is how computers actually think about things, so in memory, RAM, for example, 1 MB would be 104.8576 bytes. In base 10, however, you can actually have 1000. Disk drives work like this, and on an HDD, usually 1 MB will be 1 million bytes, though solid state works in binary. Basically, it's just down to the fact that the computer and the storage device usually work slightly differently, so there are different definitions for the same thing.
you want to support the channel, please consider liking and subscribing.